Hello. This is the continuation for the guide How to Spot Fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians, Part 2. 16. Sometimes you also might feel they have the need to explain themselves. They will be ready to explain themselves at the beginning of certain conversations without the subject even being in your mind. This is also when their agendas enter. They are slowly molding and shaping your consciousness. Remember that. They will never do it all at once. They don't think in the short run like humans do. They need to explain themselves because sooner or later, there will be many incongruencies to their stories and information, and they know this. Things won't add up more than normal with them. It is something that eventually will happen, and they can't really control it because of the nature of how they are trying to change the story and deceive as many people as they can. So, in order to maintain their stories and cover, to remain coherent and consistent, they must explain themselves much more frequently than the real ones, who don't have this need because they don't need to prove anything, unless they are genuinely questioned, of course. The real Taygeteans and Swaruunians don't have the need to explain themselves. Remember, they don't have a human mentality. The real Taygeteans and Swaruunians don't manipulate or control the conversation. They let things go with the flow. Unless you have already previously agreed to talk about certain specific subject or topic, then they will have a subject in mind. It depends on the context. You will notice the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians don't have the need to prove themselves. The information they bring, they don't need to prove their coherence nor consistency. If the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians try to explain something, or maybe something they did or that is going on with them, you will realize they are genuinely trying to make you understand something, but not because they want to prove something or themselves, but because they genuinely want you to understand that something. Now, when the fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians try to explain something, it will feel more like they don't care if you understand something or not. They are there only to prove themselves or mainly to explain themselves because they must keep consistent. They must keep their covers up. If the fake ones fake being interested in helping you, which happens all the time, it will sound just like that, very fakey and artificial. It will not sound natural. It will not feel natural nor authentic. 17. They will say things like, "If this is seen as proof of falsity, I no longer care. There's nothing I can do about it." This is not how the Taygeteans and Swaruunians talk. Can they say something like that? Well, yes, because nothing is impossible in the end. However, you will have to analyze the context. Like, why are they saying this? Are they trying to manipulate you to use, inverse psychology to make you or the public to do something, to believe in them more, to stop questioning them because it's just, oh my God, it's just so obvious that they are real. It's so obvious that, this is true, they exist, and blah, 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 understand that their manipulation is very low. They have absolutely no morals, no ethics, no shame. They are psychopaths. I don't even know if they have emotions. They just fake emotions. Now, of course, they are clones, so they probably have a soul, and probably the soul is artificial. I don't know if you've seen the information from Swaruunian about artificial souls. So, if you haven't, I really recommend that you watch it. Also, she explains exactly how clones on Earth, how they are made, the type of technology that is used, and that there are many levels of technology for clones and how they put, artificial souls inside to animate them. That means that they don't really have emotions, they just fake emotions. Remember that they use psychology, reverse psychology, psychological projection, gaslighting, scapegoating, and the like, but all very subtle. Remember that they are imposters, hypocrites, charlatans, and tricksters. They're highly trained for that. They have money and they will use it to keep their cover. Also, they have regressive extraterrestrials on the surface of the planet, dark extraterrestrials in orbit, as well as dark starseeds in their phone book. They are a team, and they are all working together very diligently to keep their covers. (18) They will say things like, "Drama is part of life." You will realize the fake ones say this to justify why they're focusing on drama, or why drama is needed, or why drama is inescapable, or why drama is, like I said, needed in this community. As if drama was something inescapable. And even though this is true to some extent, at least on Earth, it is actually very possible to dodge and diminish drama as much as possible. It would depend mostly on your willpower and on the work on yourself. It is hard, but very possible. Remember that you are in control of your life and the things that you do, the people that you hang out with, where you focus on. Remember, they want to bring as much drama to this community as possible to decrease credibility in this movement and to decrease people's interests, saying things like, "Oh, I don't want to bring drama, but blah blah blah." And then they bring drama. 19. The real crew on Tolika won't accuse humans of being the source of drama in a negative way. It's hard to explain, but listen carefully. The crew on Tolika, know this. They know the humans are the source of drama and the disclosure in the world. Like, humans are the problem because, they are traumatized, full of problems, brainwashed in all areas. Okay, so they know this. They know that humans are the ones who keep bringing the drama. They are aware of this. And they feel this every day. Yet, they are very careful with their choice of words because they truly don't want to point fingers at others or at the humans. They are compassionate and understand that humans are the way that they are because of a highly toxic, negative, and stressful environment, that we all live in, and that they are suffering. So, the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians don't want to bring even more dramas, accusations, negativity, pain, or suffering to the humans. Even though they don't care that they offend the humans, they also don't want to offend anyone. For example, the real cause, no one knows this, I haven't seen this anywhere. So this is the truth and I'm only giving it here. The real cause of Aneka's death was not the stress of her job like their official statement says. It was actually the fault of humans. Let this sink in. Human energy and toxicity ended up killing her because they are not good at dealing with stress, human toxicity, and negativity. The cause of her death was not the stress of her job because the truth is that she could handle the stress of her job. The job was not the problem. She loved her job. The problem was the relationship with humans. So her relationship with humans is what ended up killing her, because it led to a very, very high amount of stress for long periods of time because of betrayals and very serious treasons. This is the truth. So human drama hurts the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians. It truly does. They are extremely sensitive creatures, and they are learning a lot in the process and evolving just like all of us down here. And they are also healing from their past traumas, but they will always be a lot more sensitive than us down here, because they are not used to, a high level of negativity. Their biology is not programmed to deal with that. Just like you will understand this when you compare the average starseed down here is weaker, in quotes, in the sense that we are not as good as dealing with negativity and toxicity and human drama as much as the average human soul is. I don't know if you've noticed that, but the human souls, in this particular sense, they are much stronger than starseeds at dealing with negativity. This is why they are more capable of dealing with 9-to-5 jobs and other more stressful situations, because their souls have been here for much longer, and so they are used to it. Their souls have, been trained for lifetimes after lifetimes to deal with all this negativity, while we, the starseeds, we are also not used to negativity. Although we are inside a human vessel, our souls are not used to it. But anyway, this was the real cause of Aneka's death. And yet, the real ones never officially told this to the humans. They blamed Aneka's death on the stress of her job. But this was not so. They wanted to spare humans from the pain this knowledge could bring to them. I don't want you to feel pain or to suffer because of this information, because of the disclosure of this information. But this must be known, because this must be understood. Even though deep down, some people, or you, might not agree with me with what I'm saying here, or not see things this way, I know that deep down, you know that what I'm saying is the unfortunate truth. 20. This is another big one. The real Taygeteans and Swaruunians do not depend on Earth resources. The real Taygeteans do not depend on human food, much less the Swaruunians. They might only use money for their secret undercover missions as walkdowns, or while they are living down here pretending to be, normal humans, or, if they want to buy some form of service, online, using the human internet, a human computer, but not because they need it, but it's because it's for their missions. So you understand what I'm saying? They don't need anything from Earth. They only need things so they can continue with their missions and they can continue helping with humans. But they don't depend on human food. Remember this. The real Taygeteans and Swaruunians do not depend on human food whatsoever. Do you honestly think that there would be food for everyone on board Tolika or Ventra, but no food for the Swaruunians? And that the Swaruunians should be independent and deal with this problem by themselves? Does this honestly make sense to you? Honestly. Remember, Earth food is mostly toxic for these extraterrestrials due to the high amount of toxins here. Our human bodies can deal with those toxins more because we are used to them. But eventually, even us, end up dying from these toxins. Because this is why down here we get old, we get sick, we end up dying earlier, like before than what we are supposed to die because of these toxins. But, we can deal more with these toxins than them. Their bodies cannot really deal with any of these toxins, which, are foreign to them. So, okay, can they survive if they ate earth food? Of course. But after some period of time, if they kept eating it, they would most likely get sick. And they could die from it if they kept eating, inappropriate stuff for their clean, healthy bodies. It's real. Sometimes people think that Yassi's voodoo can never be sick, but she can, and it is usually mainly because of frequency dissonance. Our food is way, way too heavy for them in terms of, low frequency. It would be like you eating a rock. And like I said, our food contains many toxins that their bodies can't deal with, both physically and energetically speaking. They can't deal with our food energetically speaking too. Plus, there are also those heavy metals and nanotechnology in the form of dust that the controllers of the planet spray our food with. They are very sensitive people. These extraterrestrials are very, very sensitive people. Always remember that nothing down here on Earth is compatible to their systems. They can survive many things, but eventually it will bring them sickness and death. Athena's voodoo and Sophia's voodoo do not depend on Minerva's voodoo's job for money, nor, food for sustenance. They do not depend on Earth for anything, especially physical resources. If they need something from Earth, it is to study it, to analyze it, to better help the humans, not themselves. They do not need money for food. I will repeat this. The real ones do not depend on money to buy human food. And pay attention here because after this guide is released, the doppelgangers, they will try to explain why they need money for food, and they will change some of the story. So be aware of this. Notice the manipulation. But also, because I'm saying this, they might not change anything at all, because that's the level of manipulation. It's extremely frustrating, and I'm trying my best to show you, to emanate to the public my certainty, my authenticity, my integrity, and that I truly, truly want to help humans. I truly, truly want to help humanity to see, to be above deception. And you are being blinded. You are being indoctrinated all over again because these people are giving you 70% of truth. Because here's the thing, it's like someone told me, like there's a CIA agent that says that if you want to deceive the public, all you need to do is to give them 70% of the truth. This will be enough to guide them and to steer them into the, in quotes, wrong direction, or the direction that you want them to go to without them realizing what is going on, and even defending that truth like as if they are defending their lives, as if their lives depended on it. When in actuality, what they resonate with is with the 70%. They don't realize that the other 30% is subtle manipulation. And just because the other 70% is true, they conclude that the other 30% must be true. But it's not. It's very subtle, but it's all lies. Let me tell you something. This is a house of cards. This will blow up, and it's not tomorrow, it's not next week, it's not next month, it's not even next year, but maybe in the next 1 to 2 years, or even more. This will all be extremely obvious to a lot of people. So I'm trying to spare you of the pain of finding out that you have been deceived, used, abused, manipulated after all these years. And actually, I wanted to mention here the person who commented this, this phrase from the CIA agent trying to teach people how to deceive others, because I really resonate with what he said, and it's true. And so, I'm going to give credit to the man called Roar. I'm not going to give his last name because I don't want to expose him, but thank you for commenting this. I really agree with you. And you won't find his comment here because it's not in the comment section, it's private. So again, thank you, Roar. 21. The fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians will tend to give certain pejorative adjective to things. Although the real ones can do that once in a while, the fake ones will tend to this more often, and they won't even realize it. Not like when they are trying to transmit information to the public, but in personal private convos with them, they might not even realize it, but you might. Taygeteans and Swaruunians don't give pejorative adjectives to things or people that often. They will explain how those things work or operate, showing you the harsh truth, but they won't use pejorative adjectives or ideas in a malicious way, which lets you manipulate and guide your thinking processes or conclusions. You must detect this subtlety. 22. The fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians might be way too interested in knowing certain personal things about you. Information that they will be gathering about all starseeds and you personally. They might push you or strongly encourage you to talk more about yourself. Never give your real information to any extraterrestrial unless you're 100% certain that they are real and benevolent. Otherwise, don't. You never know who is behind the other screen and their real intentions with you. The clones are good listeners. They will listen carefully to what you have to say, not because they are genuinely interested in you, but rather to understand your way of thinking, your strengths and weaknesses, and then be able to use them against you to gain an advantage. They obtain information to use it against you. I noticed that the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians don't have many questions for you. They are usually prone to answering all your questions because they have the tendency to want to help those who are in need or to give information to those who ask. But they are not going to ask you many questions. Most likely, none at all, actually. The humans are the ones who ask them questions. 23. The fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians will try their best to seem enlightened, in quotes, and wise with their words. But deep down, you'll notice this all seems rather forced, artificial, or exaggerated, rather than a natural trait or flow of things. It's hard to explain with words, but if you carefully analyze their behavior, they will not truly sound natural. Although the clones are very good at mimicking what the Taygeteans and Swaruunians say, they don't truly know their personalities, not deep down. They just grab the essence of the image they portray, not the little details. They mostly are guessing their personalities. In relation to the Taygeteans and Swaruunians' personalities, the doppelgangers just have the information that the public has, so they will try to maintain this image the public has about them. You won't find any real quirks, they won't feel very deep, they all might seem very flat on the inside in their personalities, the way they act. Or a little toxic, like I said. It's hard to explain with words, but I'm sure you understand in your heart what I mean. If you have not chatted with the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians, you might not be able to discern this, but if you have, you will have better chances of spotting this. But you don't need to have chatted with the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians to know this. To know this in your heart, all you need is actually your intuition. Remember that intuition is a higher form of intelligence, much higher than the rational mind. 24. They might enjoy being put into pedestals. If you try to make them feel special, superior, just to play with them or just to, sense the ground, they will most likely not stop you because they will be secretly enjoying it. Their humility will seem fake and only portrayed at the necessary moments, or when they feel they must portray humbleness, or they might very theatrically stop you to show their humbleness. They also will say they don't want to take credit for things they say, when they will mention certain things that don't make sense taking credit for. The real Taygeteans and Swaruunians simply do not care about people stealing the information they are given, although they do feel this is an immoral and unethical practice, and they themselves don't do this. But the real ones will mention certain things only so people understand that they are aware, of other people stealing the information they share, because they are not stupid, they are aware of things. Some people copy everything with exactly the same words without mentioning them, as if they came up with the ideas or discovered those things by themselves. But the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians don't care about people copying what they say. They will never be bitter about it. They know they do not possess any information. It is not their freaking property. Simple, harmless information is not theirs to keep. They will not take credit for sharing such simple basic truths that is common knowledge for trillions of extraterrestrial races out there, and information that is the right of every single human being to know, or at least to have access to. 25. They will, very subtly, try to divide people and put people against one another as much as they can behind the scenes. This is why sometimes they will focus on dramas or play with jealousy or create dramas behind the scenes. Remember that they do it cautiously and subtly, and they don't want to be caught doing this. So no one will ever see they doing this. They want people thinking that they have had, certain ideas and thoughts by themselves, when in reality, these ideas were all planted and pre-planned by them from the very start. They will create dramas and chaos inside the community. Things like, who is the most loved and special contactee? In very subtle ways. Remember, they play with people's egos and self-images. Also, they not only pretend to be the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians, but they also plant key comments under videos and other online public places where the community of followers is. They also guide people's perceptions by planting comments with catchy or trendy ideas inside the hive mind community. They also have the help of their dark starseeds to do this for them. 26. They might make you question yourself, including your memory, your trust in yourself, your sanity, what you're feeling, and even your own identity. They will manipulate situations to instill doubt in yourself. They don't want you feeling that much, because it's through the feelings that people discover and find out the truth. They find out a lot of things by themselves, for themselves. The doppelgangers might do this so you eventually automatically trust and do what they say without questioning without, stopping and reflecting by yourself. They want you dependent on them. They want you to give them the ultimate control. 27. The doppelgangers might use the triangulation strategy. Triangulation is when two people disagree and a third person gets pulled in to sway which side wins. The doppelgangers or any manipulator strategically use triangulation to ensure that their side wins the argument, which can include choosing a third person they know will agree with them or front-loading the information to be more favorable toward their side. This encourages the human victim to question the doppelgangers less frequently and to eventually stop questioning them altogether. It can also be used to increase the human's feelings of isolation, which increases their dependence on the manipulator. 28. The fake ones would try to make you feel dependent on them, like I said. The real ones don't like when humans get dependent on them. At all. They feel extremely drained when this happens. 29. The fake ones would tend to make generalizations instead of going more profound into a subject or an idea. Not always, though. And if and when they go profound, they will be most likely just copying what has already been said or shared, or even worse, leading you to the wrong consciousness direction. You will also feel they are not as sharp-minded as the real ones are, and that's very evident. "30. If you ask something that the clones don't know or don't remember how the Taygeteans and Swaruunians have exactly, shared or explained certain information in the past, they might cleverly try to suddenly change the subject or say that they need to go. But they will do this in a subtle way, a way that seems natural. Later on, when they have the answer in hand and you ask again, they will answer you. This will all seem natural. This is not because the doppelgangers are stupid. Far from it. They have extraterrestrial knowledge and information that the humans don't have access to. Remember this. But they just don't want to give them to us. And when they do, the information is distorted and it is designed to manipulate us. 31. The doppelgangers might play with your insecurities. Unfortunately, these people are highly skilled at noticing a person's insecurities and intensify them subtly and indirectly whenever it is convenient. The clones might target a person's sense of shame, which is an internalized feeling of inadequacy. Since shame is a painful emotion that most people automatically try to avoid, triggering this encourages humans to comply with the doppelgangers to avoid feeling these painful emotions in the future. The most common tactic is for the doppelgangers to learn your unique triggers or sensitivities and use those against you. Some of them and their team are naturally very good at studying you and learning exactly what buttons to press to manipulate you. 32. The fake ones might use guilt trips. The clones will use guilt trips in order to change how the human victim feels. This could be something along the lines of, in quotes, "If you decide to blank space, I'm going to feel sad and anxious." End of quote. The doppelganger's long-term goal is to convince you not to do that thing again in the future without discussing it with them first. This is a silly example, but you get the gist. 33. The fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians will promise you many things. Many empty promises. They'll make you feel excited, special, emotional. Again, remember these things. I am repeating them for a reason. This is how they play with people's emotions, dreams, fantasies, and desires. They know the weaknesses of every single starseed incarnated into a human body, especially the profile and psychology of the people who follow this disclosure. Yes, they have studied you and all of us. 34. And last, but definitely not least, the fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians will invite you to physically board Tolika. They will make you feel emotional and special. The real Taygeteans and Swaruunians don't do this. They know how the ego can be a monster, and if not controlled, this can make everything fail. They also never ask someone to board Tolika like this, unless it is a real needed extraction, or they are just making the person aware about extractions. They won't necessarily be inviting you, although the person might understand this. They can't invite people to physically board Tolika for a variety of reasons, but I'll mention a few. A. They can't for now because they can't extract anyone so simply like that, because of UFOP strict rules, Earth's complexity, and each soul's path. B. A new human on board their spaceship would disrupt things in terms of energy. And they are very, very, very sensitive beings to energy dynamics. C. They can't do many things right now, like landing, because not only these things might be dangerous for them, but it's not the right time. A lot of things need to happen on Earth first. Maybe they could land in a decade from now, but as of now, they can't. This is serious. The fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians might ask you to physically meet them on board their spaceship or on Earth. And yes, they have a spaceship. And they can't do that because they are physical clones of the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians and look exactly like them. I don't know what they would do to a starseed if they kidnapped or abducted them. Needless to say, they do not have good intentions with the benevolent starseeds or any human. Be aware that if a fake alien invasion happens, which is possible, they will invite you to go somewhere to physically meet them so they can help you. If a fake alien invasion happens, there will be fake help portrayed by them. Remember this. They will offer fake help. They might try to extract starseeds if this happens, and only God knows what they would do to them. I will repeat. If a fake alien invasion happens, there will be fake Swarus giving fake help, pretending to help humans and asking them to follow them, to physically meet them somewhere else, maybe in their spaceship or maybe somewhere on Earth. Be aware, be careful, it's not them. Remember, they can't land so freely, so easily like that anywhere. They just can't. When they come here, they come like in secret. They hide. They can't. It's simply impossible. You know how the dark, be it human or extraterrestrials, they are always trying to get them. So until certain things change on Earth, this is simply not possible, at least not yet. This guide might continue in future videos in a part 3. I don't know everything and I can't know everything, but as I said, this general guide does contain the core essence of how the Dark Clone's engine operates and manipulates. I have definitely not written everything, many things might have been left out, and many of the things mentioned here might change in the future because the doppelgangers will become aware of this guide. Because of this, I can release updates of this guide in the future. They don't really care about being spotted and discovered by some smarter starseeds in quotes. Of course, they don't want to be spotted, but the real reason they are doing all of this is so this movement doesn't grow and does not reach the masses. This is their real goal, to prevent it from becoming more dangerous than this already is and to divert people. And if it does become, popular among the masses, know that it's already tainted because, sometimes they don't need to make a consciousness movement stop. They just taint it. And then, it doesn't matter if it becomes popular, it just doesn't matter because it's not a threat to them anymore. It went from extremely dangerous to becoming extremely harmless. And, that's what they do. They attack from behind without anyone noticing, take over things, and then you become non-dangerous again. So they mostly care about destroying this movement, ruining this work, ruining the Taygeteans and Swaruunians' work, ruining your work, my work, all of the starseeds' work. And also, they're trying to make people suspicious, don't trust the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians, to bring negativity and much more drama into the disclosure. They give truths. They must give truths, otherwise no one would pay attention to them. And the true nature of their deceptions would be easily spotted and revealed. They are smart and masters of secrets, deception, copying and twisting things. They are illusionists. They know how to reach their goals and they try their best to remain undiscovered while causing as much pain and as much suffering as possible. They just want to lower everybody's vibrations and insert them with half-truths, carefully designed and forged for the people to never leave the matrix, for humanity to lose the consciousness wars, while the starseeds think they are helping to make a difference, when in reality, they would be bringing only more negativity and therefore feeding the dark in the same way the rest of humanity does. Also, I know that the dark is planning to completely take over this movement, this disclosure. I know the clones are planning to grow their human reach by themselves using human resources like money. They will not stop portraying themselves as the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians, not until they die or are physically stopped by someone. Know that, unfortunately, there will be a change in things from now on. There will be a division in the disclosure where the fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians will continue, and so will the real ones. Some people will continue following the dark ones, and some people will see right through their bullshit and find the real truthful sources. This will intensify the consciousness wars even more. The real Taygeteans and Swaruunians know this and have always known this. But they are letting everything flow because this will serve as a filter to them and to us for those who are genuine and those who are not. Those who are thinking for themselves, not just copying and pasting everything that is said to them and repeating or without applying, the things that you are learning in your life, putting them into action, not just, you can't just stay in theory. There's a reason why they're giving these tools to us, and it's because of what's to come on this planet. So, we need to be ready to step up our games, to bring our A game into this, not only for us, for our friends, for our families, for our relatives, for everyone, every person around us. So they want only the people with the right vibrations to follow them. But it's not like you need to make the cut, or it's not as if this is a religion or anything of the sort. It's because of what's to come on Earth, like I said. this disclosure needs to truly, this time, work. And there are certain people who, if they continue following them, they will only bring problems. And I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about. And like I said, they want the rest to be, not that they want, but this is what will happen because that's how the universe works. The rest of those people that cannot see, don't have eyes to see, cannot see right through this nonsense, they will be caught in this filter like a spider web. And they will continue following the fake ones. This is why there's nothing you can do to make them see. Those are the ones who will continue following the dark doppelgangers because they simply will not be able to see this. If you are able to see this, congratulations, you are the exception. You form part of the minority of the minority. But don't think that, but not in a special way. This does not make us more special. This is not a club to join. I'm just saying this because it means that you have done your work. You have done your shadow work. You probably are very humble and have the humility to question yourself, to, like I said in the comments, make ego checks from time to time, make the work on yourself. Be also aware that in the future, the fake ones might use inverse psychology and start calling the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians the doppelgangers instead of them. After all, this is the inverted planet. This is why I'm releasing this guide to help you because, trust me, this plays a big part in the future. This is part of the big maneuvers from the light because I realize that there are not many people finding truthful sources, links from the real light with real information. So this is why I am making this available because there's not a lot of stuff out there that is genuine and authentic, as you have probably already noticed. Most of the things are really tainted and distorted and extremely manipulated and made to misguide the people. So this will play a big part in the future because it's not obvious what is happening. Right now, it's not 100% obvious at all. Well, to me it is, but for you most likely, and for the rest of the people, it is not. This is why this guide will play a big part on you, thinking for yourself, making your own conclusions, and then you will get to choose which source you will resonate more with and therefore follow. So, like I said, be aware that in the future, the fake ones might use inverse psychology and start calling the real Taygeteans and Swaruunians the doppelgangers instead of them. Welcome to Consciousness Wars 2.0. Everything from now on will be much more intensified on both sides of this polarity. And I'm not saying this because I want to manifest this, but we cannot stay blind, we cannot be ostriches and put our heads in the sand. This is what is happening, and we cannot lie to ourselves. We need to see what's happening, face it, and adapt to new situations, be resilient, change when we need to change. And don't worry, if even after listening or reading these tips in this general guide, you're still not able to differentiate the real ones from the fake ones with, a large percentage of certainty or at least comfortably, know that this practice will get increasingly easier and easier as time goes. I can guarantee that. And one way that I know this is that for now, the doppelgangers are really tricky. But in the future, they will tend to be less and less tricky as their audience increases, as their popularity increases, because also I know for a fact that the people on this planet, they are dumbing down more and more. Like a friend of mine said to me once, and I agree with him, unfortunately, this is what is happening. People are dumbing down more and more. And because of that, the doppelgangers will realize that they don't really need to be as tricky as before. They will, they don't need to put a lot of effort to deceive the masses. And so in the next, I would say 2 years, around 2 years, it can be more, it can be less, this will become pretty obvious to a lot of people. I cannot say to all of people, because those who want to continue believing the lie, they will. And there are many who are newly awakened. But a lot of people, I would say the real followers, the truthful followers, the ones that are here from the beginning or have been awakened for some time, it will become pretty evident to them. Trust me on this one. And so if you are here, know that we are alone for now, but in the future, things would drastically change. Don't think that they would change tomorrow or next year. Maybe in 2025, who knows? I can't really predict what will happen in the future. I just know that everything that is happening is a house of cards. And because of its very weak and fragile foundation and base, it's impossible for things to not blow up. They will collapse under their own weight. Their work and what they are currently doing right now might seem very strong, but like I said, it is a house of cards. What they are doing is plain and simply deception, and every deception is always discovered in the end. It might take a long time. People might suffer a lot in the process, it's true. It will bring a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, a lot of feelings of betrayal, and a lot of tears. But in the end, everyone will learn from it. And like I said, bad things, in the end, they become blessings, because everyone will come out of this much stronger, much wiser, and this time, much harder to deceive. And trust me, they will desperately need this skill, this ability in the future, because like I said, deception will increase on this planet as the consciousness wars intensify. And that learning and that new skill and ability is precisely the real reason why the Taygeteans and Swaruunians are letting everything happen. They are purposefully allowing everything to continue to happen. People will need discernment and intuition more and more on this planet. This is why they don't interfere. They never interfere like that. They always step back and watch. End of part 2 of the guide, How to Spot Fake Taygeteans and Swaruunians. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.